Man, I gotta clean out the top of these toolboxes. Welcome back to Fun King Garage. And this week's episode is a continuation of working on the 1974 Corvette Stingray that we are getting ready for Hot Rod Power Tour. If you don't already know, that car was a 20-year barn find. It sat unused, unrunning for 20 years. We've pulled it out. It's here in the shop. It is getting ready to go on Hot Rod Power Tour in like 20 days. Like, the time is coming up so fast. And this has been an absolute roller coaster of emotion for me. There has been times when I'm super excited, and there has been times when I've absolutely been gut punched with this car. This week's episode, we're talking all about getting the brakes ready and the hubs ready and that kind of stuff. So check that out. But if you haven't already subscribed, do so and ring that bell for notifications, because next week's episode is going to be just chock full of content that you're not going to want to miss. So without further delay, let's get into this week's episode. So the next step was to get the brakes all pulled apart to inspect and see what I'm dealing with. I don't believe this rotor had ever been off of here, and I'm 99% sure that the caliper was still the original caliper. Now this one still has the emergency brake in it. However, this one does not. There are no pads in here. The cable is zip tied up to the brake line. There's no emergency brake. There's also a little problem with this backing plate where it's cracked. I'm going to try to weld that as opposed to just buying a new one, but we'll see how that goes. Now there was some more fun up front. As I took this front end apart, this is the driver's side. Passenger side was fine, but this actually looks like somebody ground down the spindle and there's a big crack in it. And looking at it from the front, you can almost see that it's bent a little bit. So I think somebody hit something, bent the spindle and caused the crack. Then to fix it, ground it down so the bearing would fit on it. So I'm going to have to find a spindle for this side. So overall, I knew that this car was going to require quite a bit with the brakes. I'm still looking at also replacing the master cylinder, because the one on here is just a regular cheapy auto parts store one. And I think the brake booster is having problems as well. And I say that because when we started the car on Saturday, there was no change in brake pedal feel. So I'll probably go ahead and replace that as well. Overall, it's going to be a big job and a costly one, but brakes are pretty important, so I definitely want to get those done. So now with all the brakes off the car, the two rear calipers are in pretty rough shape. The fronts were definitely replaced at some point, but these rears are pretty nasty. So I'm actually going to run them through the sandblaster, see how bad they are, see if a rebuild kit is a good option for these versus replacing them. Rebuild kit's about 10 bucks a caliper. A replacement caliper is about $100 to $120, depending on the brand. So I'd rather rebuild these if I can. So let's see what the sandblaster does. So obviously there's still a lot to do, but what a difference that makes. And that's even got original casting numbers in it. That's got to be the original caliper. So I'm going to chuck it back in there, and I'm going to keep hammering on it. We're going to make this thing look new. Not with this stuff. This stuff will kill you dead quick. Dollar store oven cleaner.
Oh, is that what it is?
Best degreaser you can buy and the cheapest. You go to the auto parts store to buy degreaser, it's like $7 a can. I bought this back when it was still $1, not $1.25.
Yeah.
Alright, so I've been working really hard and I've gotten a lot of the front end pulled apart and parts cleaned up and sandblasted and painted and more ready for paint. But I've also discovered some new fun things on this 50-year-old automobile. And of course, the deeper I dig, the more that I'm going to find. But just things like the ball joints are in good shape, but the boots are torn, so I'm going to put boots in. I have to replace the spindle on the driver's side, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the spindle off the passenger side as well, get it cleaned up, and get those boots replaced as well. I haven't touched the rear end yet, but I do have some parts on order. I did order all new brake lines for the front. I haven't looked at the back yet to see what kind of condition the rear brake lines are in, but the front is going to get new ones. The rear, of course, is going to get all new emergency brake, but each moment is a new adventure on this car, and each moment is a next step to getting this thing road ready and safe for power tour. So I'm getting my workout today. So when I took this rotor off, this rotor was bolted to the hub, which was kind of different to me, but you know, each car is always a little bit different. But when I got to this rotor, it still has the factory rivets in it. And so I have to drill the rivets out to get the hub off the rotor so I can put new rotors on. So I don't know if you guys can see, but if you just punch the rivet head, they're not necessarily centered. Things weren't made the way they are today. Like, the machining wasn't so perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a second rotor, and I didn't come up with this. This wasn't my idea. But it's a trick that's been used for a long time with these. Well, that lug stud must be longer than the other ones. Alright, and then I'm going to use a transfer punch of the appropriate size. It's a little too tight. That's 11/32. That actually should be the one that fits through there. But that's alright. We're going to go down one more, which is a 21/64. And this is just a cheap set from Harbor Freight, but they work pretty well. And now we're done with the old rotor. Alright, I'm going to start with a 5/16. Little PB Multi-Max on here. Alright, I'm just going to hit it quick with a vacuum. know if you can see it, but if that's punched right, look how far that's off center. Now we're going to step up to a 7/16. Seems to be the magical size. And this drill bit's excessively long. So that one might give me a little trouble. That one might not have been centered correctly, but we'll get her. Those have been in there a long time. Just using the towel to stop the shrapnel from spraying. Now this is the one that the head did not come fully off of. So let's see if we can't break it loose. There's the head. Alright, now I'll get a drift punch again. It's been in there a long time. Don't really want to hammer on those lug nuts because they're finished. Well, that knocked the stud out. It did not knock the hub out. So I'll be knocking that back in. Some PB in around this guy. Let that soak in for a few minutes and we'll try it again. Alright, so we're going to try a 1/2 inch thick steel plate right on the hub and a bigger hammer. That's my foot. Not sure if it's moving at all. Alright, more PB. Might have to get out some heat. Alright, I flipped it over and I put some PB around there. It is moving because I can see down through the rivet holes. There's a gap starting to form between the two pieces. So let's go back and try this again. Maybe an even bigger hammer. There she is. Now, look how badly this rotor is worn. Look how thin this inner part is. That's been on there a long, long time. And look how thin these veins are even. Unbelievable. Alright, so now I'm going to get this hub all cleaned up. I think I might run this guy through the sandblaster. Protect the races. Yeah, it's pretty gross, so I'll get it cleaned up. So, show of hands there. Who would have just thrown that away? I went and bought a new one. These are about 250 bucks. I think I've seen them as low as like 220. But this is an original. And now, it looks brand new. There's a couple spots I could have hit a little better, but it'll be fine. Yes, and all right it will be. As I said, there were a few dirty spots still on there that I could have cleaned up with the Media Blaster, but a little primer, a little paint, and you'll be none the wiser. I know this because, well, I've already done it. The way YouTube works, unfortunately, you guys don't get to see what's happening when it's happening. So much has happened to the car since just this video. So you're going to want to tune in to the next episode and see, because I'm going to try to cram a lot of it into one episode. Whether that's good or not, I don't know, but you're definitely not going to want to miss how much work has been done to this car and the progress so far. We are super excited to be going to Hot Rod Power Tour. I'd like to get all of the content out before we go. Don't know if that's going to happen, because you're going to want to see the content of the Power Tour once we get back, or even while we're gone. So definitely, if you have not done it, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell for notifications. Tune in next time for sure. You're not going to want to miss it. I want to say thanks to all of the new subscribers and the subscribers that are already here. You know, we love all of you equally. And until next time, thanks for watching.